Well, good afternoon. My name is Suzanne Michelle Smith Austin-Hill. My parents are originally from the South. My mother was born in Jacksonville, Florida, and my father was born in Greenwood, South Carolina. I'm from a family of four: my mother, my father, and my older brother, Kenneth, who is 9 years older than me. I was born in New York City, in New York Hospital in Manhattan. I spent my first 5 years there in the projects, and at the age of 5, I moved to another borough of New York City. That would be the borough of Queens, and that's where I spent the majority of my childhood until age 18, when I left to go away to college. My parents, Henri Smith and Parker Joseph Smith Jr., were responsible for my upbringing, but my grandmother, my mother's mother, had an integral part in my raising. I was very involved with my parents as far as my rearing was concerned until I hit the teenage years, and I had a tendency to do just the opposite of what my mother dictated that I should do, and that was very instrumental in me raising two daughters myself, that I was always very cautious not to usher or give them ultimatums, because I found out growing up, if I was given an ultimatum, I deliberately did the opposite of what I was told to do. After I graduated from high school, I graduated from a professional high school in New York City, the High School of Performing Arts, which is now part of Fiorello LaGuardia School of the Arts. I was a ballet major, and up until 10th grade, I was studying to be a dancer, but I had a personal epiphany at that time and became a math teacher. So the path to that goal took me after high school to a year at Michigan State University, Go Spartans, in East Lansing, Michigan. Brought me back by marriage back to New York City for a couple of years at Queens College. By that time, I'm married and have a child, and that took me to Washington, D.C., to George Washington University, where I got my first of 3 degrees. That's a Bachelor of Arts in Teaching and Learning Mathematics. Who and what influenced my choice of activities? Definitely my parents. My parents empowered me to do anything I thought I could do and do it well. They told me if I was going to be a park bum, to be the best park bum out there. My personal life. I was married at the age of 18. I had my oldest daughter by the time I was going to be 20 years old. I had my second child, another daughter, when I was about 25 years old. I've been divorced from that husband since 1991. But I'm happy to say that I remarried in 2002, and all is well. My family, love of family, and my children, even in spite of divorce, is one of my favorite things. My greatest achievement in life, interestingly enough, I hold a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, and a PhD. But I consider my greatest achievement in life is getting my 2-year degree. I have a 2-year degree from Miami-Dade College in Miami, Florida, in sign language interpretation. And that was the most difficult degree that I got, because I came to that degree very late in life, when the windows of opportunity to learn a second language that's so much different than the one I speak, American Sign Language, that was very difficult for me, but I persevered and I finished a 2-year degree, and it took me about 7 years to do it. Is there something that I regret? Yes, I regret not having given my mother a diamond bracelet before she passed away. The reasons why I didn't give her one is because my grandmother cautioned that in the area in which we lived and where my grandmother lived, that somebody would probably chop my mother's arm off and take the bracelet. But I do regret not having given her that diamond tennis bracelet. Yes, I would like to write a book. And being with the writing group at the South Shore Regional Library, that is a work in progress. It's not the novel that I thought I would write upon retirement. It's going to be a book of poems, and attached to each poem will be a photograph that I've taken. because I found out that I have a gift of photography. So that is something that I definitely want to do, and that would be a further achievement for me. 3 pieces of advice for future generations. Be kind to others, be kind to yourselves, and find out what you're called to do on the face of the earth. And like Nike says, just do it. What is most important to me in life? To always be sure that I have my priorities in order. And so as a Christian, I realize that I should put Jesus first in everything that I do. I should think about others, and then I should think about myself. My motto, one of my mottos, comes from one of my grandsons, who just says, when things are looking bleakest, he shouts out loudly, "I'm still here."
Are there things you didn't have and you would like to have them now?
The only thing I can think of is a pogo stick. One Christmas I received a pogo stick from Santa Claus, and it didn't work, so my parents took it back to the store, I'd assume probably Macy's, and it was never replaced. So I have that regret, but I think at my age and my physical state, it's probably not a good idea to try riding pogo sticks now.
Do you consider yourself a role model?
Yes.
Why?
I believe that they're all role models, because as a Christian we realize that people are always watching other people and watching what we say and watching what we do and how we react to situations. So I disagree wholeheartedly, for example, with certain athletes that say that they are not role models. I think particularly if you're in the public eye, or even not in the so public eye, that we are always role models because people are always watching us.
What childhood dreams have you accomplished?
I definitely accomplished, should I keep going? I definitely accomplished a dream that I know that God had for me, that I wasn't going to become a ballet dancer. But in His generous wisdom, at the moment at which I decided not to become a ballet dancer, He had already put in my spirit what I was called to do, which was to be a math teacher. And I'm proud to report that I taught mathematics in 3 different states and 3 different levels. And for the most part, I enjoyed every minute of it, and I know that I made contributions to the lives of students who allowed me to make the contribution to their lives.
What kind of a book do you think everybody should read in their lifetime?
I think everyone should read Gone with the Wind, because Gone with the Wind is a very interesting and tumultuous time in the history of the United States. And that particular book has every human emotion you can imagine all rolled up into one. And it's always been one of my favorite movies, and it takes a long time to watch it, but I think it's worth every minute of it.
So it's going to be a movie and a book together?
Yes, I would recommend that that you read the book before you see the movie, because in the movie you're going to lose a lot of the details. But they're both fabulous pieces of literature, one in book form and one in movie form.
Wonderful. How about a song? What song do you think everybody should listen to?
I think everyone should listen to Bette Midler sing "The Wind Beneath My Wings," because that song lets us know that we're not on the earth alone, that we're here to help one another, and that when we don't think we can stand, there's always somebody close by to lean on.
How do you spend your free time?
Well, I have a lot of free time now because I'm retired. I'm on the biggest and best vacation you can ever take. I mean, they call it retirement. I spend my time watching an awful lot of TV, which I find totally addictive. In my household, we don't turn on the TV until everything that needs to be done is done. But I do so love watching movies. I'm particularly watching a lot of historical martial arts movies. I love those. I participate in a writing group at our local library. I'm starting to participate in a poetry group that meets at the same library. I'm very active in my church in the Deaf Adult Life Ministry, and it's there that God has helped me to use my 2-year degree in sign language interpretation. I teach and I interpret services at First Baptist Church of Brandon.
Who is your idol?
Idol. I would say my grandmother.
Why?
My grandmother taught me how to be a grandmother of 1, and I've been blessed to be a grandmother of 6. So I have to do what she does 6 times more. She taught me how to be a good mother-in-law, so that your sons-in-law will love you as they love their mothers, and will invite you to come back again. She's also taught me just how to be a nice person, how to be a wonderful, nice, and loving person.
What do you think everybody should try in their lifetime? Try to do.
I think everyone should try to do at least one thing in their life that they don't think they can do. For example, I didn't think that I could climb Dunn's Rivers Fall in Jamaica. And in the spring of 2011, I did it. Of course, I lost my shoe along the way because I didn't have the proper shoes on, but at least I can say I have climbed Dunn's River Falls.
What helps you make the right decision in difficult situations?
The Holy Spirit is my barometer, my thermometer, and any other measuring tool you can come up with. I'm blessed to have God in my life, such that the little still quiet voices in my head that says, don't do it, don't go there, and the times in my life that I have not listened to that voice, usually the end of the story was not a good one.
What do you love the most in life?
What do I love the most in life? I love nature. And living in the Tampa Bay area, having grown up in New York, spending about 30 years in busy, tumultuous Miami, I love living in the Tampa Bay area now, where I live on a lake and I can hear the birds chirping, and my husband allowed me to pretty much take over the patio with plants. I love to just take a seed and put it in dirt and just see what happens.
If you, for example, caught a goldfish and it would give you 3 wishes that you could get, what would those be?
I would hope the goldfish would act on God's behalf and help me to be less jealous, less envious, and less selfish.
What question would you like to answer that we didn't ask you?
So how did you get, okay, Suzanne, why would you volunteer to tell all this information to everybody? And I would do it because a new friend and associate that I met through the writing group is working on a project, and I do love helping people. And I thought, well, gee, if I could get a copy of this at some point, maybe I could use this to answer some of the questions that my children should be asking me or have asked me, and I haven't answered them yet.
Do you believe in life after death?
I believe there's a life after death in heaven, but I'm learning now that I shouldn't be so busy trying to get to heaven that I don't take care of business here on earth, because God has promised us a wonderful life here on earth and with Him in heaven. I'm in no rush, and I know He won't take me home until I've done all I have to do, so there are obviously some things that are left for me to do.
What knowledge at the university or school was actually useful to you in life, and what wasn't?
I'm the kind of student that was all useful. I didn't spend not one moment asking, why do I have to take this? Because I knew why I had to take it. I had looked at the curriculum for the various programs that I had for my college degrees. I knew what each subject was required to get from A to Z, and I knew that Z was my prize, and I was going to get my prize with a 2-year degree, a 4-year degree, a master's and a PhD. So I really respond to that question that I wanted to take them all because they all got me to where I needed to be.
Which country, if you could choose, you would spend your childhood instead of where you spent it?
I would like to have spent time in France. I just think the culture in France is very intriguing. I've had an opportunity to visit Paris many years ago. I wasn't really impressed with the food, but just being around the culture and the fashion, I think I would like to have spent some quality time in my youth, perhaps, living there.
How about your mid-age?
Middle age, I think I would have liked to have been in Germany. My current husband is retired military. He spent a lot of time in Germany, and just hearing him tell about the richness of that culture and the wonderful people that he met and the beautiful scenery. I would surely like to see that castle that the Cinderella's castle at Disney's modeled after. So I'd like to spend middle years in Germany.
And where would you like to retire?
Well, I think I will come back to the United States for that because healthcare situations perhaps might be best dealt with here, although I'm understanding that perhaps socialized medicine might be a better way to go because everybody gets taken care of. But I do enjoy the United States, so I think I would come back to the United States.
How do you distinguish the good from the bad?
I use the Holy Spirit, makes it pretty cut and dry. There's no shades of gray. There's no wishy-washy middle ground. It either is or it is not the thing to do or say or think.
What is the period of life that was the best for you?
I love being in college. College is the best of both worlds. You're not independent enough to have to take care of all your bills, but if you don't feel like washing clothes, you don't have to. If you feel like going out in the middle of the night and getting pizza, you can do it. That's a period in your life when you truly can understand a very valuable lesson that you can reap the benefits or suffer the consequences of your own actions, but you don't have to pay bills.
And if you could list all of your achievements throughout your life that you can think of?
Well, I think it's pretty clear that I'm very proud to hold 4 academic degrees after a wonderful high school graduation. I am proud of my children, my 2 daughters, Angela and Monica. They have married wonderful men. If God had blessed me with sons, they would be my sons, and I've tried to be the best mother-in-law I can to them. God has blessed me through those daughters and sons-in-law with 6 fabulous grandkids, and I emphasize the word grand. Grandkids are grand. Like the saying goes, if I had known how much fun being a grandmother would have been, I'd have had them first.